Now to the latest in the lawsuit brought by 12 News to provide greater transparency of the Arizona Empowerment Scholarship Program, currently serving more than 100,000 kids. Our Joe Dana was in the courtroom yesterday where a judge must decide whether to force the state treasurer to turn over more ESA spending records and decide what details could still be concealed.
What's happening in this courtroom is the most persistent effort in the state to understand the scope and depth of misspending and fraud in a billion-dollar government program, the largest state entitlement program ever launched. The difference between a copy and a download could decide whether the public gets access to details of hundreds of millions of dollars of spent ESA tax money.
We produced everything that was on our system.
During Tuesday's hearing in the ongoing lawsuit brought by 12 News against the state treasurer, a top manager for Treasurer Yee, Jackie Harding, testified that while the state treasurer's office has direct access to ESA account records, which are managed by third-party contractor ClassWallet, Harding said the treasurer is not obligated under Arizona law to download those records because they do not qualify as public records. State law says agencies are not required to create new records to a public records request. Harding testified if they need to download the document, the treasurer's office would be creating a new record.
Well, downloading means making a copy, right?
No, downloading means downloading it directly to our system.
So what's the difference?
The difference is, as a copy, is I have something on my system and I'm going to create a copy of that that's on my system. What's in ClassWallet, we have to physically sign into a system that's not our system and download a document.
And that's creating a new record?
It is to me.
The plaintiff, including 12 News reporter Craig Harris, argue the treasurer has already demonstrated they can provide ESA transaction records. A point highlighted by boxes of records on display in court, brought here by Yee's attorneys. They represent expenditure details previously provided to 12 News, roughly half of what 12 News has requested.
I believe in school choice.
Last May, when Yee announced she's running for superintendent of schools, she said her office could no longer comply moving forward.
There have been a number of changes. We do not have control over those records. The third-party vendor does.
Harris testified his attempts to find a resolution hit a dead end.
They've not taken my calls. They've not asked me to modify my request.
Yee's office says two other barriers to fulfilling the request are logistics, given the growth of the ESA program.
Again, we're not familiar with the ClassWallet system.
And privacy. Yee's attorney pressed Harris about why his request includes a unique treasurer ID number, which shows how individual account holders spend money over time. It is not publicly attached to a name.
Is it possible that you could then figure out who that user ID, who's the minor child?
It would be almost nearly impossible. And the reason the treasury ID number is important is because we can track whether that student did pay $6,000 to Brophy, and we can also find out whether that money was bought on a diamond ring or a swimming pool.
The testimony comes a week after a state auditor general's report raised more questions about oversight, describing it as haphazard, saying the Department of Ed's internal audit program has deficiencies, is not adhering to its own methodology, and in nearly every instance among a small sample of reviews, was unable to recover misspent taxpayer funds. Judge Christopher Whitten has asked both sides to provide a summary of the evidence. He signaled he may issue a ruling in June. Joe Dana, 12 News.